Hello, everybody. How are you doing? We are live. I'm showing this for the second while I zoom in my window and replace it as it always starts on that screen for some reason. Yes, we will look at that new Roland synth in a minute and talk about it. Oh, we got to get rid of our mirror effect. Let's do that. Oh, and my camera's on its side. Whoops. Whoops, there it is. Hello, everybody. How you doing? Yay, live stream Saturday. It's summertime here in Portland, so that means it's over 100 degrees now. So the air conditioner is running in the background. So you will hear that. Sorry, but it must be there. Otherwise, it is very warm. Okay, so this window can go away. This dashboard is up. Cool. YouTube is happening. The live stream is happening shortly on live stream. I need to... There we go. Open up the chat. And let's do this. I got to do my housekeeping stuff. You guys know I always have housekeeping every time, so... Hang on while I copy and paste Facebook and to the chat here. If you want to chat, come to the YouTube. All right, now we got to go to Facebook and go to... How's everybody doing? Summertime. It's that good summertime feeling, right? Live stream is now happening. And of course, it has the old thumbnail. It's silly. Some weeks it doesn't, and some weeks it does. That's a funny thing, you know, there's this thumbnail that I create for each one of these, and I uploaded it last night, but YouTube still hasn't updated that image for if I post the link to Facebook. It shows the previous week's thumbnail. Arnold Palmer, the only way to enjoy this summer. So how is everybody? Let's see what's going on. Hey, everybody's here. Let me say a little... Greetings, everybody. So it's customer question day. Ask me a question if you wish, and we'll talk about it. I have some questions already that I've accumulated from email. There's Sai, there's Harley, Rajnar, Kendall. Awesome. It's great to see all you guys. It's a fun little, it's like our weekly television show or whatever it is. Oh, big shout out to Casey Baldwin, Exosun. It's his birthday today. Casey, happy birthday, brother, wherever you are. You won't believe the library he's working on are you going to do a video on creating really spacey pads? Ooh. We could do that. Big E's in the house. We should do a video on big, really spacey pads. That'd be fun. And Del Norte is really great material for that. So maybe that's something we can look at for next week. Good idea. I'm putting my tea far enough away that hopefully I don't spill it. No guarantee. Yes, it is hot as heck here in Portland. One question about, how about offering pre-sales? How about offering pre-sales? There's a sale going on my site right now. Summertime 25 is 25% off anything at the site. So use that if you're talking about a special. I don't know what you mean by pre-sales, Rajnar. Please explain. I'm going to show you. I did one thing that I'm including for the first time with this library as I've been making it. I've been making little just song creating ditty MIDI files of kind of my take on, you know, the EDM chill dance kind of stuff. And I listen to a lot of dance music, but I think I am putting something in it, maybe a little bit more than just the dance music component, just because of my musical background. I like fusion, I like jazz, I like big complex chords. And there's artists doing that kind of stuff, so it's not that far out. But let's see here. So I'm gonna call up. Let's go to. Oh well, percuss is done. We're talking this week. Oh wait, I need to change my name. This is. Oops. Here we go. Percuss is out. This is for Del Norte, which comes out July 7th, by the way. So this is June 23rd. Del Norte MIDI file fun. We're doing MIDI files. We're going to work on a demo for Airwave 2. Yeah, I'm not letting stuff out until it's done. Del Norte, MIDI files, and customer cues. Otherwise, it gets really confusing because I've had customers that they don't even like that I do the updates, because you guys go through and you put your ratings and you edit patches, and then the new update shows up and you erase everything. So, yeah, I try to make a date and I work on these as fast as I can, but I'm not going to let it out until I've got 5 other guys making patches. Airwave sent me his patches for this, by the way, which I'll show you. I want to put everything together and make it a solid package, and then on July 7th, it comes out for everybody. Hello. Hey, Gareth from Bavaria. Thanks for updating. Yes, I updated the YouTube name. It said Percussa and it had last week's date. That's the last thing. I always forget to do that. There's just too many steps to take. Anyway, so I have all these MIDI files. I'm going to play. So this is one. And then if you go through the different patches, you turn on Kickstart, right? Then add a kick drum. Oh, well, that's my demo track, so I gotta go over here. I'm on the wrong. I need to scroll down farther. Silly me. 1, 2, 3. Get this over here, and then hit play. That's for the chill vibe, so it's a different thing, but if we quantize that, let's hit loop. I don't like that snare sound, so I'll go to the list real quick. And let's call up to show you how fast and fun it is to play with super macho drums. Let's take this snare, let's compress it, lo-fi it, and I'm gonna lock it so that I can play the groove. Maybe add some pitch. We need to EQ it. There. So that's cool. Now, if we want, let's look at other MIDI files. This is a chill type of vibe. So what I probably do, and this needs a big chord thing, so let's go to this sounds. These might be cool. Here's without the Kickstarter. So we're gonna do we'll do a class in maybe next week or the week after where we take a MIDI file and we turn it into a full song, and I'll show you how to get a lot of mileage out of a single MIDI file. Here's one of the, I love this groove. I was thinking to myself I should save these and make my own record, but I'm gonna share them, so. So if you copied this, and I'm currently, this is on a bass sound here. Oh, before I do that, here, let me show you what I did for the Lost Coast. So there's a video up right now. Oh, I've probably messed it up already, knowing me. But Lost Coast is like 85 beats per minute. And it was using a bellish type of pluck sound. Let's get up here. I think like that. So it started with this, right? So it has this sound. Put kickstart on. And then I added this sound. And this sound has the mod wheel, which is doing some really cool things to the sound. And then I have it play everything and so by just muting these parts, that's not quite the right sound. That's better. There's Kid Anthem. So this is using the same MIDI file, but I layered it to 3 different sounds. A higher pitch. Isn't that attack cool? I can't move to 2 screens. I'm used to having 2 screens. I'm gonna move this over here for a minute so I can navigate a little easier. And then this sound is, oh, let's do this. Let's pop up the little purple button here so we can go from here to here. This is a pad called Crescent City. Here's without kickstart on it. There's no code for kickstart. The code was for Tantra, remember? So there's this nice deep pad, and one thing I did to this pad is I allowed the mod wheel to just do complete, and I had it freeze it on the wave shaper. It's bringing down sample rate as well as bringing up the mix. So it starts just a little bit, and as it comes up, it's bringing up the mix. This mix is really handy to use because you can create a really obscene amount of just all sorts of something happening to the sound with the wave shapers, the reducer, with the crusher, then bring down your mix to just a little bit to have just a little bit of that affecting the sound. Most synthesizers, a lot of them, when they have these types of tools, it's only, there is no mix. So having this mix is really useful, especially that it can be right-clicked to modulate to anything. So you can have it randomized or all sorts of things. If you set to randomizer, that means each note's gonna be a different value. So on like short bass sounds, to have a really cool distortion that's like randomly changing intensities is really handy. Is Kickstart the same as LFO tool? It is. It's a little bit different in that Kickstart has only presets that you can quickly call up. There's more presets than there are in LFO Tool. You can offset where that bump happens, which is really cool for mixing up a mix. You can set it to a trigger mode so it triggers by audio instead of synced. It could be set to re-triggered or one-shot. It has some cool abilities there for how it can work. And it's $15. The other, it has a mix, which I find really handy. And for this track here, for example, I have 3 different Kickstarters happening. I'm not using Tantra. It's turned off right now, but Kickstart is on. And I had different presets for these different tracks so that it was hitting in different places, I believe. What does it end up being? Yeah. So one's using this one nice and tight and the other's using mids chain. I mean, they're about the same, but with different intensities. And as you see, I don't have it at 100%. I have it just gently ebbing and flowing so that the kick drum, which I have, by the way, I have set it up. I guess I got to come over here and show it this way. I've set up this kick. It's actually 2 kicks. It's a really cool trick. If you listen to a lot of dance records, the kick that's on the downbeat is different than the kick that hits with the snare. It's not the same. And that can either be done through filtering or it can be done through using different samples. And so what I'm doing for my kick pattern, is it the same kick? I'm doing it for another demo. I've done this, I had this actually set up, I think. These 2 kicks are almost identical in sound. So if we wanted to, I thought I did it for this, but if we wanted to, we could. Take these kicks. And then shift them from it's a really cool thing to do that. I'm reading the conversation real quick. Yes, so Kid Anthem is working on making some patches for Del Norte. So, yeah, if you want to throw up a tip every now and then with what you're finding, we're going to go through patches. This will come with a lot of patches because I want to. But anyway, to finish my, I do this all the time. I have set Contact 5 to multiple outputs. As I have talked about in all my videos, in order to use multiple outputs, you have to go to your output mixer, which is, I believe right here, your outputs. You have to configure this by hitting the plus button, setting up these to be how you want, and then you have to save it as a default. And I have it as a default for all formats. That way, each time you call up Contact, it has available these output assignments. If you don't do that, it won't remember them and you won't be able to do what I'm doing here. And then all you have to do is play the notes, and right here, I'll turn off note lock. These are assigned to stereo pair 2 so that they show up in the mixer in their own area, right? So the snares and everything else is over here, but these 2 kicks, if I was to put these to stereo 1 so that they show up with everybody else, right? So now they're in the same mix with everybody else. Listen to how this changes the mix. It's still there, but just by routing these to output 2, see how it's a little bit more standing out on its own? I hear it with headphones with an air conditioner running, so I'm sure you guys can hear it too. Hey, Lonely Alien. Hello, Germany. All right. So then also for this kit, this is the ESW Future Bass. This is the snare. I took it up in pitch, and I added reverb to it. Otherwise, it's pretty much the stock ESW kit. I did take these down in filtering, so they're not so bright. You can control that. I could hit lock, note lock, and especially since it's the downbeat now, I can compress this with the punch. So it really stands out. And then go to this one. And let's try to make this sustain longer. Can you hear that? Let's make it have a little stuff on it. So you can do all sorts of things to the drum sounds that are very subtle. Okay. So that's one sound. There's the bass part. Turn this down a little bit. So there's one MIDI file, but by choosing 3 different sounds that work together in different ways. Turn on kickstart for this. Listen to the difference. Here's without kickstart. Hear that little bump? When you put the kicks with that, now you hear that stuff we added to the kick, right? See, this is fun tricks because when the whole mix is playing, you might not hear it, right? But when you solo it down to a couple parts, all of a sudden, the people that listen to your music go, listen to that cool kick thing. That's cool. So those types of things are the kind of tricks that like Thomas Dolby Records and Saga Records and Peter Gabriel Records, Buggles records that I've grown up on. There's little places on songs where you all of a sudden hear something that you didn't hear before, and it only happens once in the song. And I love stuff like that. So do that. I can't find Wave Shaper in Omnisphere 2. It's really easy to find if you know where to look. So let me show you. It's right here in the middle with all these things. It's the WS tab. And the Wave Shaper, if we were to initialize, let's do this. Let's get up here. Turn off kickstart. We'll do a quick Wave Shaper tutorial. So initialize the multi to make sure everything goes away. Use a sine wave, right? Because you hear the change of a Wave Shaper far more with a sine wave than with the more complex waveform. The Wave Shaper. Now Wave Shaper is going to add a bit of like sample rate. Oh, we got it. Even from this little bit of noise. If you need like fuzzy sine wave pads and stuff, just turn on the Wave Shaper and bring up the crusher and you're done. Make a slow attack, put it through a lot of effects, and you got a really cool sound. More, and it becomes a distorted. Let's do this. Let's call up. I haven't used this lately. Where is it? Schwa. Is it? I know it's not the Schwa scope. It's the Candy one, right? Where is? I'm horrible with name and stuff. Not Relayer. Sugar Audio. That's right. So if you look at this waveform display, and let's turn off the bouncing around automatically, and I can squash this out so it's smaller and like this. And let's call back up Omnisphere, and as I move up the Wave Shaper, all of that is being added from this one effect. It's really cool. So you can take a sound. If you take this instead to a sample, let's go to something from Del Norte. I have all these attacks, then all these other cool things. There's some really cool sine type things. Let's go to... This has a chorusing. Here's without wave shaper. Because it's got the detuning motion in it, the distortion gets so extreme you can use that as a cool effect. Right? So you get all this crazy stuff, and then this mix. Just add a little bit to it. And then control your levels and adjust accordingly. That's why there's a gain over here and stuff like that. So the wave shaper is a really cool secret weapon to immediately dismantle the samples or the wave shapes, either subtly or extreme. All right. So the wave shaper, a good friend. So that's what I'm doing, is just basically doing 3 different sounds that are playing the same MIDI file. Let's go through some other the sounds of this library. I want to show you the width that we're getting to, and I want to show you a couple. There's some secret bonus things we're doing as well. For one thing, this is going to be the first library with patches that include keyscape samples. If you see KYSC at the end of the name, that means it's keyscape is being used. And if you don't have keyscape, these sounds will not work. This is just using one of the cool attacks, because I have all these cool attacks. So without this attack, with the attack, it becomes something completely different. I'm gonna make that a MIDI file. I like that idea. Oh wait, I'll watch the live stream afterwards and do it. Requires a different tempo feel that I want to try to figure out how to do. So that is one of the cool features of this library, is keyscape. Yes, if you don't have keyscape yet, now's the time to get it. And it's my fault. So there'll be pianos with pads. There's some really cool pads on the works. And these sounds really lend themselves. If you don't have keyscape, some of these I can make alternative versions, but some of them I can't. There's an electric piano inside of Omnisphere 2 that I will use to make an alternate version, but the idea is there will be hundreds of patches. So it's not like there's going to be a shortage of patches, and maybe 40 of them will use keyscape. It's not like it's all the library. It's a small part of the library as a bonus for those that have keyscape, because some of these pads I can just change out something to make it a piano or something like that. And so this is the moody side of things. For the chill, there's some really cool Airwave pads. He did some really cool stuff here. Oh wait, this is the TD stuff. Right here. Lush and Lusher. And it's just using the new samples. Isn't that cool? so lucky to have that gentleman work with me. I haven't leveled these yet. They're not finalized. Here's some of his plucks using the plucks. And he's using, I believe, in this case, how's he getting the... I think it's LFO 1. Stereo imager, that's it. If I go to the stereo... Airwave does the tricky stuff. Have to figure out what he's doing. And then on top of this, he's actually done a lot of BPM things that are really cool. It's one note. So if we were to go over here, he's got a couple of things going on I wanted to show you that are really cool, where it's let's get the kick just over here. And there's one, the Del Norte. Check this out. 1, 2, 3. So it's a cool idea, right? Okay, so he also has a bass line to go with this. I haven't done this yet, but it's a really cool idea. So if we set Omnisphere up, go up here, tell it to be MIDI channel 1 so that I can make MIDI channel 2. Let's go to track channel 2 here and call up the bass. And go 1, 2. Okay, so solo off, quantize in. Now he's got a lot of reverb on part 1. I turn that down. So there's cool ideas of using the same arpeggiated idea for multiple things that make up a complete. Now I needed some cute girl to come sing, and you've got yourself, or a guy. And hey, there's Jason. Welcome, Jason. That's good to see everybody here. This is fun. It's a good hang. So my air conditioner's on. I'm sorry. It's 100 and something outside right now. So I would be like warming up my iced tea to be hot tea if I didn't have my air conditioner running. So have to put up with that. And we're showing off. Jason's also working on pads and stuff for this. So let's see here. Initialize the multi. Northern Lights rocks. Yes, it does. Jason is the creator of Northern Lights. I keep talking to him about making something new, and he's working on stuff, and who knows what's going to happen. Some of the other pads that and BPM and all the stuff that's happening. And these are padded, that you can play chords with these, so you can. That's cool. All right, you guys have all sorts of discussions going on over here. You can buy a lot of John's Omni libraries, which is worth more than Keyscape, in case you're not so deep into sound design of Omnisphere 2. Sample Steinway. Oh, Scott, you work at Steinway. He's like, they should sample a Steinway. That's cute. Here's some pianos that don't require Keyscape. Selma. And again, these attacks. I want to tell you, these attacks. Here's just the attack. And then here is without the attack. And here's the two together. It's 100 now. Wasn't it snowing last week? Not snowing here. Yes, this is kind of D50s. And I want to mention real quickly, Roland SoundCloud just released the D50 plugin that you can join the SoundCloud. You get a month for free if you want to try it out. Unfortunately, the sad thing with what they've done is they have just sampled the D50, the presets. It's not the D50 engine. So I'm proud to say what I'm doing here is something more complex than what Roland is doing with the D50 in that plugin, because that plugin is only samples of the patches. Here I've pulled out and created new attacks. This is me playing a pan flute and then looping it so it sounds really bad, because the idea is you want some of that because, right? When I fade this out a little bit and then turn it down, it just becomes this cool motion in the sound, so it's not static. So this is, we're doing more than the D50 is doing here, my friends. And what's fun with this, with all of these, is that you can hit, on this layer, you can hit this button, and I've organized the attacks. I've made it so that they show up at the top of the list in the sample list, and I've made it so that they show up at the end of the list in the patch list. But I have a patch for every single attack, so that because if I don't do this, when I save out the Omnisphere file, you don't get all of these unless they were used in a patch or a multi. But this way, they will all be there. And so what you can do is you can go to the list and make as many, there's so many different. So you can do this with any of these patches, which is something I'm really proud of. So these attacks is a whole different thing. I really wanted to deal with libraries that don't have enough unique attack, because Omnisphere's attack is kind of it's a signature kind of an attack. It's a little soft. It doesn't cut into your head like some of the other plugins. Like Spire has really great attacks. Serum has a really unique notchy attack to it. Omnisphere, I myself and some other programmers that I have working on more dance-oriented libraries are having a hard time getting attacks. And so by using samples of percussion You can get... I could make the same... I mean, it's... So that's kind of the unique thing that this library will have, is the attacks, as well as these really cool waveforms for the pads and so forth that just awesome. So this is a source for making slow pads like Hartley was asking. And this is a patch, for example, just to give you a little insight into my thinking. This is a patch that needed a lot of reverb to round it out, because this is using a form of synthesis inside of the Virus TI, where there's an awful lot of motion. Here's... This is the original patch with no reverb on it. Right? You hear that wah, 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 wah. I didn't want that to be so noticeable. I wanted it to be in there, but more diffused. So I used reverb to do that. Because reverb is kind of like adding water to the edges of a watercolor painting. It will diffuse things that are too well in focus. It's one trick that I use often. Let's see, you guys are talking about stuff I'm supposed to be paying attention to. Let me look back a little bit. I'm sold with the pads I've heard. Oh, you've heard nothing yet, my friend. You've heard nothing. I'm just warming up. There's more to come. There's a lot more to come. I'm just building the pads now. In fact, that's one thing we'll do in a minute. This is an EDM library, which means it's going to have all sorts of really cool... Almost had him. Okay. What's the question? Skippy, look at my question. Oh my God. But one of the Del Norte attacks, like on the Cedar Roads patch or something. How to utilize an attack on something else elsewhere. Yes, this is part of the question. Eric also emailed me this question as one of the customer queues, and we'll get into that. Okay. I got the question. I got it. Let's say all library. Let's go, I think Cedar Roads, you said, right? So here's the Cedar Roads patch from the factory voicing. Question is, how would I add one of my attacks to this? Well, when we look at this patch, we first say thank God, because B is off and it's assigned to nothing. So all we have to do, there's two ways to do this. You could easily do it as, I'll show you two ways. The first way is in this patch. You would turn on this layer. You don't know how it's set, so that's the risk here. But you can hit the little sample folder, go to Del Norte, and like I said, the attacks will show up at the top. Maybe I want the triangle. I put reverb samples. So with no patch, just calling this up, it's pretty cool. But then you could go in and you could program it. You turn on the filter. Maybe put this to its own set of effects, and if you want, you can go to the Guru effects racks, the bonus presets that come with Airwave library. And there's all these things like and now you can go over to this B and take all these attacks, and there's over 100. And you can hear this pitch is sticking up. That's because it's an octave higher than this. So go to your transpose, tune it, turn it down a little bit. And the other thing that's really cool is because these are percussion samples for this part, you get this really cool added without this, your low end doesn't even stick out. And then if you get to the breath stuff, it's like game over, seriously, like, oh my goodness, what are you talking about now? Because these attacks, when you get to these okay? So that's one way to approach this. This requires more programming than the other way I will show you. The other way is to call up Cedar, go to Multi, and set Layer 2 to MIDI channel 1. That way, whatever you do on MIDI channel 2 is going to also play with MIDI channel 1. And then go to the Del Norte library, and I have attack patches for everything. And then you could turn it down here, or you could go to the mixer page here. So I've given you both options at your disposal. All you have to realize is that these MIDI channel assignments right here can be changed. So if I wanted, I could actually, let's keep going. Go to MIDI channel 3, set, or part 3, set it to MIDI channel 1. Go to Del Norte and call up one of the pluck sounds. And off you go. So you can keep layering and making really cool things. The other thing I got to show you, I forgot, I got to show you this. It's so cool. So every one of these attack patches, I was looking at them going, okay, they're attack patches. So let's turn off Cedar, right? So let's say, okay, check this out. So I'm going to have it play a MIDI file over here. That's a chill one. Let's go to an EDM. Oh, keep the kick going. So watch this. You guys are gonna flip. So here comes the mod wheel. You ready? every attack patch. And if you want, cool, huh? So every one of them has a hidden synth patch. Not only synth patch, but it's also got a it's pulsing, which leads me to the other thing I want to show you. That's the bonus is coming with this library. That pulsing is in the patch. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Kickstart is off, so. The other thing that I'm doing is, so I'm making these things. I have pulses. There's different presets that I've done for pulsing for different patches in this library already, and there's a lot of patches still to make. I've got over 2 weeks still of work to do on this. So check this out. If I turn down the volume and assign this to mod source envelope 4, 100%. Let's look at mod 4 right here, and I want to set this to song position pointer. Check this out. Coming with Del Norte is going to be a pulses library of pulses, so that you let's copy this. If I should call this up straight without, it's like that. And now I can go through so I have all sorts of stuff coming up. So there'll be probably 30 pulse presets included with Del Norte that will let you immediately get that lovely pulsy effect without needing kickstart, without needing LFO tool, without needing anything. And there's things that you can do because it's inside of Omnisphere. Because this is parameter values, so to speak. It's amazing how well thought out and how well connected everything is inside of this one plugin. It's just Eric Persing nailed it like nobody's nailed it. I could go over here and I could call it like a reverb, and I could have it be doing something really cool, have this dry, and I can assign this to that same modulation source. And I could have it changing reverb times. Let's have it inverted. So you can get all sorts of cool stuff happening. I could take an EQ setting. If I want, I could go over here and modulate that with that same modulation source. I could invert it. So it starts right at the beginning. I mean, this type of flexibility, there's nowhere else you can go to have this much fun. So it's the only game in town. There you go. Takes on my CPR to get that many layers going at once with the drums, I guess. Hey, John, can you mention the good news? Up to you. Kid Anthem has some good news in that he is going to Full Sail's training programs with scholarships. And part of that scholarship that got him in is because of the work he did with Plugin Guru. So congratulations, Alan. That is a cool opportunity to further his education. He's always wanted to go to Full Sail and get more engineering, music training in production. So he's in on a scholarship. They're getting him a computer. All sorts of really cool things are going to happen for him. And he blames me, so that's really nice of him. Happy to help do that. That's awesome. Very proud of you. Isn't that cool? Everybody say congratulations, Kid Anthem. Yeah, he's very excited about that. So, well done. All right, let's look at our customer questions. And then in the spare time after that, we will look at, I noticed, and then I've noticed this for a while, and it's bugged me, but I've been so busy with other things I haven't been able to do anything about it. But there's no demo song. It's sold really well without a demo song for Airwave Volume 2. So at the end of this, I'm going to start putting together. I'm not going to finish it during this live stream, but we'll start it up. Also, a little bit of news on some other things that are happening. Roland just introduced kind of a bombshell on the market with this really cool synthesizer called the SE2. It's $499. It's made in conjunction with Studio Electronics. It's fully analog circuitry. Some of my friends are complaining because it does have digital circuitry keeping track of tuning, so it stays in tune. It also has presets, so there's like 300 plus presets it comes with, and 128 presets in the factory that you can add your own to it. Has a step sequencer in it, I believe. It sounds great. I'm gonna go see it after the live stream ends. How'd they get a keyboard on it? It doesn't have a keyboard, does it? No. Maybe there's an add-on for a keyboard? I don't know. They're showing it, this picture here with that. That's cool. You can add a keyboard to it maybe, if you want. Or maybe it comes with one. I don't know. All the pictures I've seen for the most part are like this, where it's just the modular part of it. So I'm going to go see this. There's one here in Portland at a store that a friend of mine. There's an update also for BeatStep Pro. If you own and use the BeatStep Pro, version 2.0 just came out. I just printed out the sheet of all the things it can now do. It's got rolls and all sorts of added abilities. Here it is. I got BeatStep Pro. I love mine. I don't use it enough, so maybe this will give me some more incentive to get into it and use it more. We'll see. Also, Reveal Sound Spire is 30% off through the end of this month. If you don't have it, it's a great synth. We have a library for it. We'll do more libraries for it. One of the guys that's done factory patches that lives in Russia, in the Ukraine, is actually working on a library that we're supposed to be releasing. Really talented guy. I haven't heard from him lately, so I got to check in to see what's going on. But this is maybe my second favorite synth sound-wise. Well, Serum and Spire have special places in my heart, and they're two very different personalities. But between those and Omnisphere, that's pretty much everything you need to cover. Spire is a little bit more of the Virus TI, really smooth, beautiful unison, cool attacks type of a sound. Serum is more of an in-your-face, especially for the really complex harmonics. The wavetables can get just insane. So they're two very different personalities that work really well with Omnisphere, in case you're wondering. There's a little sale this weekend at my website, so hopefully you get my newsletter or go to my Facebook page. I have announced there the promo code for the weekend. There's some people on live stream. Hi guys, make sure that if you want, go to the YouTube link that I have if you want to chat, because there's a whole bunch of people chatting like crazy away over here on the YouTube page. A keyboard was a it was a Roland Boutique Extra. Oh, okay. That's how it works. The next patch contest. Good question. I think the next contest might be a demo song contest for Del Norte. I've been putting together some ideas for it. Using one of these MIDI files, building a song up, using the Del Norte patches. Sounds kind of fun. So we'll see. That's what I'm thinking about, more than a patch competition, although Plugin Guru is about programming, so maybe we should have some programming elements to it as well. I don't know. We'll see. I've been thinking about that, so that's in the works. The other thing that comes with this library is all these MIDI files I mentioned just briefly, but I've been working as I make patches. All sorts of cheesy stuff. These are multis, so let's see. Some stuff like that. We played with that earlier, right? There'll be chill stuff too. This is a chill groove. That's cool. So there's all these MIDI files. I'm not gonna do one of these like 100 MIDI files, because I put a lot of heart and effort into these. They're not just. I love this one. Let's see if I transpose this up an octave. So, yeah. So there's all sorts of stuff coming for Del Norte. I'm really having a good time. I love this kind of stuff, and I've always wanted to do this, and I've been disappointed with my results with Omnisphere. So the percussion and wind noises as attacks has been my solution. Yeah, so these are all Del Norte patches. So that's what we're working on, showing. Okay, so that's where we're at with that stuff. Customer questions. Let's see here. Open this up. Get these to be bigger so I can read them, and you can. Oh wait. Let's see. Where do we want to go? Oh, this first one's a good one. I've been trying to understand how to take your BPM patches and make them into non-BPM patches. Sometimes the process is easy, other times it seems impossible. Any light you can shed on this mystery would be helpful. So let's do that. Let's take a patch. I'm gonna do nothing up my sleeve, random. How do we make something that's BPM oriented and make it so you can play just other stuff with it, right? Let's make sure that we're not playing multiple MIDI things, or it's just, okay. Let's go to part 1, go to the OmniPulse library. This is nothing but pulse patches. And something like this, it's easy just to turn off the ARP. And you'll find a lot of times they play very differently sonically. Like trying to get that vibe while you're just playing the notes. Only by using a sequencer and setting it to the exact gate for every note are you able to recreate the arpeggiator feel. But when you get to some of these other patches, let's take a look at Most of these. When you get to pads and stuff, it gets more tricky. Because here's one. Right? So here's there's a lot happening and the arpeggiator's not even on. It's like how a lot of you guys are getting into the programming, but you look at this and you go, okay, I don't want the pulsing because I'm going to be playing this thing where there's not a tempo and the band can't follow, and I really like the vibe of. What do I do? Well, so what we do is this. There's only 2 layers to a patch. So the first thing you have to do is you have to put on your Sherlock Holmes hat and search. Here's part A. It's pulsing. What's part B doing? Let's look at part B. It's a string pad. It's not pulsing. So, you could just use the strings. But you kind of like the harmonics when this other thing, you want a little bit of that in there too, right? You guys are funny. These live streams are definitely my favorite part of Saturday afternoon. I'm delighted every time I can make it to a part of the live stream. Oh, okay. Bye, Scott. You guys are funny. I love doing these too, so I'm glad it's a fun hang for everybody that's here. So let's look at this part as pulsing. And how is it pulsing? It's probably, well, there's something happening there. See how it's showing this? That's clearly pulsing. So one thing we could do, we could look at the strings, and they had a nice kind of arc to them, didn't they? This shape right here, let's copy it. Copy that envelope preset and go to this pulsing preset and turn off the loop and the sync. So now it's, so no longer is it pulsing. And that might be enough. Maybe just doing that and then going to the filter. You could go farther though if you wanted to. Go to this mod envelope that was doing the pulsing and paste that nice arc that was happening. Okay, so it depends on the patch. You have to be able to look at the patch. It's kind of like looking at a song and deciding what key it's in. When you copy these patches, now this one's really complex because I can tell you, I can hear already. There's a straight pulsy thing, and then this is doing a fun little, part B, it's a, right? So since with what we know, we can look for the busy parts, and I think there's more than one busy part. There's this busy part. And what is mod 2 doing? This is one of those where I did some really cool tricky stuff. LFO rate. That's what's making it actually, if we were to go to mod 2 and mute this, there's this pulse happening, but I took the time of figuring out where to set values so that if we go back here and unmute it, at certain times it's going to make the speed of the LFO double or triple. And if you turn on snap, and if you change it from being a step to being a curve, You can find all sorts of fun things in between. Okay, so this one has a lot going on. If I wanted, I could turn off the loop and the sync, and I'd also have to turn off the strength of the LFO, which there is a depth knob right here. Turn it down. And then part A is doing this pulsing. Now it's still going to do its pulsing and then stop. Wait, it's supposed to stop. Right? Because it's doing this pulsing, but then it stops. Well, if this is the case, just go over here and say default ADSR. And maybe change it to be the shape that you want. Zoom out. If you hit lock, it will keep your release intact. So you can like play this. Okay. So it all depends on the patch, how you will dismantle the rhythmic element in it. It's not easy. There's a lot of stuff happening. But in this case, just turning off ARP will work. Now there's... You hear there's something else still happening, right? Ah, this is using two LFOs, I believe. One that's doing a pulse, and then one that's a square wave, and I use the square wave a lot as a trick to like half the time have something be off and then have it be on, so it's gone, then it's on. If I was to turn this off, then the pulsing is happening all the time. But half the time it's going down so low that you don't hear it, and then half the time it's going up. So if I muted this and then I go to the pulse and I turn it down, there's the attack. And again, this is the personality. It's nice, but it's not really strong or unique. That's where Del Norte with all of these really cool attacks. Go over to part 2, set this to MIDI channel 1. Go to these parts, call up Del Norte, go to the attacks, and layer these on top. And all of a sudden you have this really cool that kind of attack you get on other synthesizers, and I cannot get it out of Omnisphere for the life of me. And when you're doing dance music and it's fast, so that's where Del Norte comes into working with everything, even these other libraries and so forth. So it's really fun. Clear this patch. That's just clear it so it's gone so we don't hear it. Which leads us to another question from the customer queues I got for the week. There's a couple. Wayne and Akim had similar things about. Can you talk to Eric at Spectrasonics about adding randomization for the ARPs in Omnisphere? That already exists, my friend. On a lot of levels, there is randomization in the arpeggiators of Omnisphere that you can do right now. Let's say we call up a BPM pluck patch. So let's go back to Del Norte real quick. Let's say pluck. Right? So here's your standard. I want the pitches to be changed. I want random all over the place. Well, simply by, let's go to the, we want the body to change, or do we want the attack to change, or both? let's just do the body. Go over here to the pitch and assign this to be modulated with random 4, or actually let's say mod envelope 4. And then go over to 4, and what you have to do, oh wait, 4 is doing an attacky thing. Sorry, let's go to 3. So now it's changing the pitch based on this. If I wanted it to be differently, I could say no, I want it, instead of being in mod envelope, just say random. And there's 4 different randoms. Control the range. Now, if I wanted, I could take the attack and I could modulate this with either the same. If I went to random 1, it would be the same. Right? Or I could say random 2. And now it's 2 different random attacks happening. Hartley's back. Okay, so that's one step. The other step, if you want to like randomize the timing, let's go to the ARPs, call up an ARP preset. Go scrolling down this list. You're not going to see the, oh wait. Let's say randomized by chords, so we can play chords. If I want the feel to be a little bit off, randomize the feel, you can modulate this with random. Hear the timing changes? You can also do cool things like take the release. Right? Go here to the length of time. It'd be cool if we could do that, right? Well, it can. So just select this and say randomize. And here's your shortest value, and then whatever your strength is. So that's randomizing the timing and the length. So there's randomization already built in, and people have been talking about the ability to have the timing changed. Please do MIDI CC arpeggiator speed change with 16th, 8th note, quarter note, half note, 1, 2, 4, instant jamming. Same for the number of steps. Those are, it's kind of hard to do that. I have found that once you start changing the speed from 1.0, it doesn't sync. So they would need an update to give you divisions. I will tell you that one thing you can do really quickly is just by changing this, you know. Oh wait. You can do that, but you can't do it with a live CC at this point. So that would be a good idea. But you do have clock resolution here to play with that you can. And record that, have something that's recording. I use a Korg MR1000, I think, as a recorder for recording real live changes that I do to synthesizers. If I want to make that audio that I use later, you can do that. So that randomization is possible. I'd like to promote my tracks on YouTube with a short tutorial before the music video using VSTs, setup, mixing, etc. What are you using as screen recording software and live recording of yours? I will show you what I've got going on. It's not all that flashy showy, but I use well, this isn't ScreenFlow. I'm using, when I do my videos for YouTube, I use a program called ScreenFlow, which can capture this computer screen, and this is a little webcam from Logitech. I have a microphone, So here's my humble little setup. Have a microphone here, and I have a little booty thingy on it so it doesn't catch my P's and T's and stuff like that. This is constant lighting from big light setups. It's natural light. It's got a softbox diffuser on the top of it. I use it. I do portrait photography sometimes. All that kind of stuff. I have other continual lights available to me if I needed more lighting. But I like kind of the more softer, just single light source. But I've had a light on my left side as well before. But just have continual lighting. You can get a really nice, go to adorama.com or other websites. And it's not that complicated. I'm using inside of Logic on my voiceover track. I have a channel EQ compressor and a noise gate at the end. See how it got rid of my air conditioning noise? It slowly fades out. It could be faster. If I turn these off, here's my voice flat without any channel EQ compression or voice, the noise gate. So it's flatter. It doesn't stand out as much. So a little bit of EQ, and I think my EQ is actually flat. Because I use it flat, and then if I need to, I can bring up certain frequencies that I need to bring up for my voice. But by doing that, you do bring up some noise. And the EQ, the compressor, is what really brings up my voice and makes things snappy. So this just a standard Logic, boring, big, ugly compressor. And I use the Type R kick drum preset, I believe. I don't think I changed it much, but I just cycled through the presets until I found, there's different presets with different settings that worked, and that was the one that worked, so I liked it. So that's what I do to the microphone. If you record just the microphone flat, then it definitely, you don't have as much presence. It's like, hi, I'm doing another video, and this is a new song I'm working on. You want your voice to stand out a little bit more than that. So use some EQ, use a compressor, use a noise gate so that when you're not talking, the noise will go down. That way when I'm playing, it will bring down a lot of the noise, okay? Send Spectrasonics your ideas. Yes, if you have ideas that you want really implemented, I'm not the one to talk to for things in Omnisphere. But I believe they have a contact on the spectrasonics.net website. Send them any ideas you have. They are always listening. They've helped so many of my customers with installing library questions. All of them are friends. I hang with them at shows and so forth, and they're really great people. And they want to, any ideas. It's one of those things where it's like our government. The more people that say something, the more it might happen. So if more people write and say the same thing to add, then they just keep a tabulate of who adds requests to certain features. And if it becomes important enough, it might be considered to be added. So that's how that works. All right. Big E had a question. I've shown some of that earlier, but his was relative to how many options there are within Omnisphere, which is true, and how you can grab elements from all over to build a custom multi. I would love to see you take odd meter or different arpeggio timed events and make something that works well by showing all the adjustments you can make, both the functional side of what you have to change, the mechanical part of lining it all up, but then also the creative part. Envelopes to make pitch and tonal changes. The one thing I will show that. I'll show how to make custom multis using lots of the libraries, but most of the libraries are lined up and synced. That element almost sounds more like you're dealing with loops and with audio from different sources. And there you do have all sorts of miscellaneous challenges to deal with because it can be from anywhere, different time signatures, different timing, tempo, right? Here, everything is automatically synced. But let's play with it some and see what we can do. Let's say we take, Airwave has some really cool new art patterns here. So let's see here. If we're on 1 and I'm here. So he's got this. Now, if you'll notice, it's a trick. See, there's no transpose steps here. How's he doing that? Well, it's easy. If we look at beat, we'll see that this is being modulated. What is it being modulated by? Oh, mod envelope 4. So if we go over here and hit our little magnifying glass, it's just taking it up and down in semitones, right? So we could hit snap. Make this a curve. And it's, if I was to put a kick drum to this, I'm just curious. See, I'm gonna delete all of these things as far as the arpeggiated stuff going. This is all backed up. Okay, it is in time. And if I wanted to, let's add. Let's even get a half step so it does a little. So let's say that we didn't want this to have the pitch changes. That'd be really easy. All you have to do is go down to your depth right here. The other way would be to just set everything to the same value. And if you wanted to, you could just go here and say remove all these extra steps. We need to get rid of this. Come on. Hello. Why won't you go away? Remove. Oh, Omnisphere, don't be buggy on me at this moment in time. I'm saying remove and it won't remove it. Okay, thank you. So this is, let's set this to be 0 or 12. Set this to be 12. Set this to be 12. Don't tell anybody that is crashing and buggy. It's still changing pitch, isn't it? What else is changing pitch? Oh, he probably has a harmonia tuning thing. Yeah. Knowing Airwave, there's certain parts of that chord progression where certain notes needed to be transposed. So he's got LFO1 and LFO2 being used to do some square wave trickeries. So let's turn those off by bringing the depth to 0. Okay. Finally. So we took the pitch elements out of this one. Let's add a percussive thing to this just to mix things up. So let's go percussa. And percussa has a lot of stuff in the BPM that are different tempo feels, some triplet feels and stuff like that. So now I'm going to go to multi and turn on stack mode. So that makes it so no matter what the MIDI channel is set to, it stacks them. It just ignores the MIDI channels here, sets them all to whatever your MIDI channel here is. I've got it so it's in and out 1. Here's a triplet tom. We don't want triplets, right? So we'd go over here, we'd set it to be 16th notes. See if that works. It might not work. Some of these are MIDI file based. I guess the lows are where most of the triplet stuff is. right. 3. Let's have another percussive part added to it, just for fun. Now, this is 30-second notes. Maybe you don't want triplets. So you might have to edit parts. Now let's go to part 4. Let's go to Omnipulse. And that's triplet feel. We don't want that, so you can just stay on the swing. This one's easy. If it was set to a triplet feel this way, then it gets trickier because the timing value is based on a 12th note measure instead of a 16th note measure. But it wasn't done that way. Thank goodness. Okay, now if we need to add more than 4 parts, just be aware with Omnisphere, they are off until you turn on 5, 6, 7, or 8. They are just in. They're not there. So you right-click on stack and you can say add part 5, 6, 7, 8. Add part 5. It shows up. It's default. It's silent until you go to 5. Let's say we want to go to Omniverse 3. Let's look through the BPM stuff here. What is 5 doing? Let's just listen. Why aren't you playing? Part 5. That should be playing, shouldn't it? I hear it, right? 5, output D. I don't know why that got set to output D, but that was the reason. So I don't know if this is going to answer Big E's question. But by going in and changing the timing values and editing, and once you get past number 4, you have to go to stack and add 5, add 6 if you want to add more. You know what? I just realized something. So, bummer. Okay. So, yeah. Is this outputted the wrong way? Oh, it's just a bass patch, so it's not a BPM patch. So 6. There we go. Now part 2, that big drum thing needs to be bigger, so you'd probably go over here. There's no effects on it, so you could quickly go to the effect racks, look at the mixes, and look for something kind of big. Right? Then you have to look at your levels and make sure you're not distorting when you add this many patches. So, there you go. That's an idea for that. Not sure if that helps or not. Hitting some of the question elements. Once again, thank you. That's very nice of you. Someone should explain, Skippy, how to use the Nightbot here. All right, Nightbot. Someone should explain. I don't know what Nightbot is, so share some information and we'll talk about it. And then the last question here was, what's the status of OMG 2? I'm working on it. It's definitely going to come out, I'm pretty sure, before the end of the year. It's just, it takes a lot of work. Probably meaning the chat. Yeah, I look at the chat when I can, but if I'm talking to people and talking about stuff, it's hard to read chat and talk about synthesizer programming to the level I'm talking about at the same time. Just doesn't work very well. I'm not good at that kind of multitasking. All right, so I realized something kind of tragic. So I'm going to have to do something kind of extreme. I do not have Airwave Volume 2 loaded currently into Omnisphere. It will be in a second. I'm going to have to quit Logic. We're going to be silent. We're going to like go. This is like going behind the moon for a minute, okay? So we'll say, I got to take the patches. Airwave Volume 2 copy. Go to the patches. Paste. And I also, I'll do the multi. Do I have the multis? I might have kept the multis in. I was cleaning up patches. I have so many libraries. When working on a new library and I'm doing things where I have to update the patch list because I'm moving patches around. Anytime you hit that refresh button right here, which forces Omnisphere to re-look at its databases and update them, the more patches you have, the slower it is. So I'm going to save the live stream in its current state. I'm going to quit and I'm going to relaunch. So I'll be back in, I don't know, this will take maybe 2 minutes, but I have to, you can move patches around as long as the directories exist. And you can refresh and it will refresh the patches that are in a specific library. But if that library does not show up in this pull down list, and in the patches folder right now, when I click here, you'll see there is no Airwave. And let's do a test. Last time I did this test, it was confirmed that it didn't do it, but maybe, I don't know. It sometimes surprises me, so maybe it will. But typically doing this will not make Airwave, the library, show up. So if I want to play on making a demo, yeah, it doesn't show up. So we're going to be back. Watch this. I was wondering how you clean up the libraries, meaning do you erase the folders manually? There's no cleaning function inside of Omnisphere. Oh, there's Tim Dale. Hey, Tim. Wow, it's cool, man. All sorts of nice people that are working with me from time to time are showing up. Tim's also making patches for Del Norte. Share your opinion. But there is no, you have to go to the Steam folder. And I have a Guru out folder where I put patches and multis when I don't want them in the directories. And then that way Omnisphere won't look at them. And then in the settings, if I go to the settings for patches, this is the current list of the library. So I just placed Airwave in this folder. I'm going to save. I'm going to quit. I'm going to relaunch. I'll be back in a minute or so and watch. Airwave will be there. And we're back. And when I click to the patches, there it is. It shows up. So by quitting your DAW and then relaunching, that is when Omnisphere is able to look at the libraries and update its database when a new library is added that you've manually installed. Now, my libraries, now you can use the install.omnisphere. And by doing that, the library immediately shows up, excuse me, right after that process. So you don't have to quit and relaunch. But if you want to, maybe you don't need all the libraries to show up and you want to just use one library and you want the others not to show up. Sometimes we're picky with that stuff. You can make a folder out and put the patches into that out folder so Omnisphere can't see them. And they won't show up until the next time that you quit your sequencer and relaunch it after moving them back in. So I moved Airwave back in and now it shows up. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to delete all my wonderful MIDI files. The goal now is to write a demo song or to start a demo song for Airwave because I've realized that it's been out for almost a year. It's done very well. People love it. Airwave's reputation is stellar. But there's no demo on the website to play. I'm actually working on also getting an autoplay. I've got a cool thing happening on the website now where if you go to the website and you go to something like Percussa, I've done this. It takes a long time to do this. No, if you refresh the folders in Omnisphere, it will not show that you've added or taken out libraries. You only get that by quitting and relaunching your DAW. But here's the demo where we're going to put something for Airwave now, something that shows up there. But I've also, oh no, yeah, here. See these little autoplays? These are playing just the multis, and I'll do these for Airwave Volume 2 as well. But I want to do this for all. I wish I could get these to be smaller, cooler looking. But we're working on that. Anyway, by the way, 25% off for the weekend. Promo code is summertime25. But it's only this weekend. After June 25th at midnight, the promo code doesn't work. But if you want to save some money on libraries that are available, Del Norte comes out July 7th. It's given me enough time to, I really want to make sure that I get all my things lined up. It's coming out awesomely, awesomely, awesomely cool. But let's play with Airwave and come up with something fun. So we're going to, let's initialize the multi we were working on. So it's blank. Yes. Yeah. So there's all sorts of just, you guys that watch this live stream after the fact don't get to see the chat. There's so much chatting going on. It's not even funny. I can't keep up with it myself. And there's people in Italy, Germany. I mean, everybody tell me where you're from. Really quick, there's 65 people in the chat. Everybody say where you're from in your little conversation chat. I want to know where in the world everybody is. I mean, those of you watching, I'll scream out names because I just love this. Because Holland, Sweden. I mean, it's so cool that we are able to do this. It just blows my mind that we can do this. Copenhagen, Chicago, UK, Southwest London, Finland, UK. Yes, Big E's in Portland, Vermont, New York, Raleigh, North Carolina, Poland, the UK. I mean, can you believe it? And everybody just get to hang out and chat. I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome stuff. All right, so this is like the simplest demo on the planet to write because there's so many cool things in this library that I just absolutely love. Now, if I was doing this and it was like a song, we're doing this as a demo song, right? Thailand, Germany, Heidelberg, Germany, Amsterdam. Oh, Amsterdam, cool. Norway, I want to go to Norway. I'm coming to Iceland next year, I believe. Dublin. I use 3 of Airwave's, yeah. I use 3 of Airwave's killer CPU multis and load, yeah. It's global. It's really amazing. At the moment, it does not profit from. It's just really cool. It's, I remember when the internet was not existent. It didn't exist. I mean, to give you a little history, for probably the first 10 years of working with Korg, if we wanted to put together the O1W series, when we did the wave drum, people flew out from Japan to Los Angeles because that's where I lived and worked at the Korg offices. I did probably 25 trips to Japan to work on various synthesizers, and we would sit in a room and we would each bring our patches that we'd brought on cards, and we would load them into one machine, and then someone would organize them in software so all the keyboard sounds would be together and all the string sounds are together and all the bass sounds. That there's 7 of us programmers, or 8 of it. There's McKelly, Bachuli, there's Jack Hotop, myself, Ben Dowling came sometimes, a whole bunch of Steve McNally from Canada. And we would sit in a room and argue and fight. And this patch has to be in the voicing. It's so important for the markets right now. And we used to do that because there was no internet. There was no since the internet hit and then took off, now everything is Google Documents. We sit in our studios, wherever they are, and we vote, and we put up our votes, and then they count the votes, and that's how they decide what the patches go into the machine. And I don't think it's anywhere nearly as good as in the past when we would actually go somewhere and meet and create these synthesizers for Korg. They've kind of lost, most companies have lost that spark because it costs money to fly people to a place to sit in a room and argue. But that's what we did. I went to Japan over 20 times to sit in a room for the O1Ws, the waves. Well, the wave stations were done here in California, and we spent months at the Sheraton in Milpitas, California, working on the wave station and staying at this place. I met my wife, who's now my ex-wife, but still a friend and still a nice person. But we met because of my work in San Jose on the Korg wave station. Long time ago. So that history is gone because of the internet. So I remember when that didn't exist. You know, I'm not. And now I can sit and talk to you guys on a microphone, and there's people in Amsterdam and Norway and Denmark and Italy and these all over the United States. I mean, can you wrap your head around that? That is, it's a very huge change in our lifetime that this has happened, and it's awesome. I could not do what I'm doing without this being what it is. So it's not like I'm complaining about it at all. Plugin Guru exists because of the internet and YouTube and stuff like that. But that history is quite different now since things work in a different way. So it's the world stage. You're right. So to build a song, this is kind of like, it's kind of like when you're building a song, it's the same way. I'm going to find a number of tracks, sounds that work together, and then we will space them out and do things, even though right now I'm building it as a multi. So I want to find something that works with that. Part 3. That'll be really cool. So part 4, we should do a melody type sound. Let's see, BPM leads. I'm watching my CPU because it's going to start to melt here in a minute. So let's go for some drums. And again, this is part 5. Part 5 is off. When you turn on stack mode, it only turns on part 4 through 1. So let's turn on 6, 7, 8. Let's turn on part 8, 7, 6, and add part 5. I'm running a 3.5 gigahertz Mac Pro Tower, but it's the older 2010 silver body. So these all will poop out at some point fairly soon. Whether it's, you know, 6 patches or 8 patches, at some point it will poop out. But I'm going to show you a trick we can do. Let's say some kind of hat thing. kicks. Okay, so at this point my computer's freaking out. So what we're gonna do is open up, most plugin editors, DAWs have this, so we can say copy, and I'm gonna go to, this currently is got 2 parts that are the same omnisphere, and then I'm gonna, just to make sure, this is a separate omnisphere, and this is a separate omnisphere. So I have 3 different omnispheres from when I was doing that demo for the Lost Coast for Del Norte, right? And let's make sure that I mute these guys because I don't want any drums other than what's in Airwave 2 for the moment. But the idea is this. I'm going to go to this second omnisphere, and I'm going to say paste. And by doing that, it pastes all the patches that I'd created so far, right? Because at this point we need to start pulling it out a little bit because we've got a lot of parts. But this way I can divide them up between different processors because each Omnisphere plugin calls up and sits on a processor. In fact, if we call up this, you can see it's currently hitting a couple processors really hard. And if I start distributing parts to be played on different Omnispheres, let's see, paste here too. Paste. And let's have this one here so we, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 6. So 4, we're going to initialize, clear this patch. Clear this patch. 2, clear this patch. Clear this patch. So this part right here is only going to be playing parts 5 and 6. Which is the drums, which is good. Part 2 is only going to be playing 3 and 4. So we go to part 5, clear that patch. Part 6, clear that patch. Part 1, clear that patch. So I'm distributing this multi over 3 omnispheres. And watch what will this do to my CPU. If this doesn't work, I'm going to be sad. But in theory, if I do this and I go to part 1 and I set this to just play parts 1 and 2, and then I go to 3, clear, 4, clear, hurry up, clear patch, 5, clear patch, and 6, clear patch. So I've distributed so that there's 2 patches in each of 3 omnispheres that used to be all running. So if I turn this on and I hit record and play, this is now being distributed. See how it's shared? Nobody's hitting max CPU like they were. I don't hear one. Did I have a solo button over here? Oh, paste. So we want to go to 3, clear, 4. So by doing this, I'm taking the, instead of everybody sitting on one processor, I'm splitting it out because your computers have multiple cores. You read about, this is a 6-core computer. You have 4-core is common. Duo is even common in some laptops. By doing this, yeah, so this is doing this one part. Okay. Then I need to go to the next step in making this into a song and turn off stack mode for these. So I'm going to actually try to get this so I can work a little bit better. If I turn on my chain button here, it will automatically change to different plugins because I need to change each one of these so that it's a MIDI channel 1 and 2. This one here is MIDI channel 1 and 2. Now it's going to take a little programming on my part. So this is MIDI channel 1. Go to stack mode, turn it off. Go to this next one here. Go to stack mode, turn it off. And then what I need to do for this part is it's looking for MIDI channel 1 and 2 up here, but they're here. So I go here to MIDI channel 1 and MIDI channel 2. And the third one. This is the drums, right? I want those to be separate for sure so I can have the hi-hats run by themselves. So go to stack mode, turn it off. Go to the mixer. Set this to be MIDI channel 1 and this to be MIDI channel 2. Okay. So now I have taken 6 parts that were in one multi when I was building it, and I have now split them out to be on 3 different omnispheres playing 2 of the parts. And this way I could add more to each one of these as I find I want. I have a bass one. Right? Okay. So at this point I can start sequencing away and playing parts, and I'm not necessarily going to get into that. We might do that a little bit, but I want to just make sure you get this concept. It's a big concept to wrap around your head. I'm sharing the wealth. This is something, I won't even say it. I won't even go there. But let's turn off kick starts so we don't have any kick starts. We have everything at the same volume level. So if I wanted to, at this point, then I would just start sequencing. So I could. Okay, so I have an idea. I don't need that last bit, so I'm going to drag to get rid of that. So it only goes to here. Quantize it, and now at this point I can go to the next part, which I was going to start with the bass line. So okay, so I've been using my mod wheel because all that dynamic. Oh, so I quantize. Was I off a major? Thanks. It didn't even record the first note. That's something that Logic does sometimes. Where and then it's going to take off into a whole different cool groove right there. Now, one thing I'll show you that might be useful to some of you. I don't like my hi-hat, the effect change, right? So I can hit the P button, which is the piano player roll. And then they have a really cool ability right here under View to go to MIDI Draw. And I want to look at modulation, and boom, there it is. And I'm not happy with how this happened, right? It's just kind of going along and then popped up, right? So I can go like this. If you hold down Control and Shift, I can make my curvature like this. Okay, and let's add another event right here and make sure it's at 0 the whole time. Okay. Oh, and that shows me that also I need to do a similar thing to this bass part because it got stuck with the modulation wheel up high, right? So if we hit P, oh, this is the wrong part. Go to the bass line and hit P. I'm used to having a big screen that I'm doing this all on. And just double click here to add one, and there. And then right there I'm going to have this takeoff. So measure 9. And the mod wheel has hidden hi-hats. Cool. Didn't even know that. It's fun to play accidental notes and stuff like that sometimes. And I want the... One, two, three, four. Mix is okay. We'll do that later. I'm happily remembering what I did in my previous take and doing things that match, sorta. So this will be kind of fun. Now that part needs to be louder, that second bass part. So we're going to open up that Omnisphere and go to the mixer and look at the volume's down, of course, because it was playing with a mix that was previously set. So let's just get everything at 0 by holding down Shift and so we got the idea. We got to start. One, two. I don't know what I'm going to do here yet, but this isn't it. Okay, that's not the right, not quite the right vibe I want, but you get the idea of how we're building it up. So the whole idea, distribute the requirements of the CPUs amongst your computer. They're in your computer. If you have everything being like, everybody's just yelling at one processor, and there's 5 other guys going, I'm bored. Use them. You get a lot more out of your mix when you do that. So that's not quite the right sound that I want to use. So if I want to come over here. So I want to kind of hit some sort of really cool groove. And if I recall, he has some really cool, what are called these chord chops. Yeah, cut in pieces. That might be really cool. 1, 2, 3. be cool. So let's go to measure 8. I'll have to find the right note that works with the chords, the arps. And then we'll keep building on it. We'll come up with some cool stuff to add to it because it needs to be huge and grooving. And the other thing I can do for the grooves and for demos is just the multis by themselves. So that's the idea. By sharing the wealth, as you can see, if I go over here and quantize this part and have these play, everything's cruising at 50%. If I was to go to another, let's just go right here to, I call up Omnisphere. And I believe it still has its buffer if I hit paste. So it loads everything up. Watch the CPU, all of a sudden, boom. It hit 100% and it's gone within like just a couple notes. So hopefully that shows you. See these CPU cycle cores? They're like, oh my God, dude, you're killing me. So by sharing the wealth, you can get a whole lot more happening with these processor heavy plugins. All right? Nice discussions going on. Someone's with these. I suggest upgrade Cubase always. Yeah, Kim, we talked about the D50 earlier, the D50 plugin that came out. Download and play with it. You get 30 days for free if you haven't played with it to try it out. But it samples of the D50, so it's a little disappointing. It's not the synthesizer. You know, when you get the Wave Station or some of the other synths that Korg has done, you have the technology, the individual samples. You can pull it apart. You can go into the patches I made for the Wave Station and pull out the wave sequences and all that stuff. You can't do that with the D50. That's why I'm really proud of Del Norte, this new library that I'm bringing out, because I do have attack samples that are wind only with no pitch in the samples. I use software to extract that so that you can mix and match and do all sorts of fun things. Yes, don't regret. Okay, so I'm going to cut it off here. Yeah, and there's I'm just following the conversations here real quick. Oh, is it? My understanding was from the people that I've worked with, I haven't worked it or downloaded it yet. John, are you getting a new Mac or waiting for next year's? I'm thinking of getting an iMac actually soon, because there's software coming out now that I cannot install. I can't update any of the Native Instruments plugins because they require something higher than this computer. So this computer is going to go over here in the corner. I have an assistant that comes in here for both bookkeeping and for all sorts of work. He helped me make all the attack patches for Del Norte, and he can use this computer. But I have software. This program right here, Keymap Pro. I'll show you just it for a second. This is something that won't work, as far as I understand, in the newest versions of the computer. And their software company is gone, so there's no one to talk to and say, hey, will this work? And I use this program for all my looping and mapping of my samples, and it's got some incredible tools where you can go into mapping, and each sample up and down the keyboard, I can have different low-pass, high-pass filters, saturators, all sorts of things to match samples in ways that you can't. There's no other program that can do this. And then I can go over here and I can hit export, and I can export it out as EXX24 contact structure or reason sample maps. and it will also render the loops and all the stuff that I've done with the saturating presets into the samples. So this program right here, I will never update this computer so that I never lose the ability to use this program, because this program is so valuable to my work, and there's nothing on the planet that does what it does. And Apple bought them, and it's disappeared. And like we've talked about, some of the stuff for the auto sampler part of their programs has showed up in Keymap. But this is beyond that. This is way, way, way beyond that. And so I'm going to get an iMac probably, and not an iMac Pro. I don't need a $5,000 iMac to do what I need, but I just need something that can run the latest operating system and be stable so I can... I bought BT's Phobos and I can't use it. I could run it on my laptop, but it doesn't have enough space on the hard drive. So I need a newer computer. So I'll probably be getting myself a decently powered i7 based iMac. I was thinking of getting another one of these computers, and I still might do that because I can do that for about $1,000, and I'm not sure how much the iMac will cost me in the end. At the Apple store the other day, and the guy told me the new iMac is more powerful than the trash can power I bought 18 months for $5,000. So I punched him. I don't blame you, but you've got this thing right now that you're using, Big E. And it's a good computer. And, you know, I don't know, computers will always get more powerful and cheaper. So, I don't know. Anyway, thank you to all you guys all around the world for joining. We'll do this next Saturday. We'll come up with an idea. The idea of making really slow pads. That sounds really fun. Although everybody will go to sleep while we're doing the live stream, right? And if I have a little bit more powerful computer, I think I could do things like get more people involved in Google Chat. So we could get Airwave. We could get Jason Chauffeur. We could get other people to talk at the same time that I'm doing what I'm doing, and make it become a little bit more of a community hang kind of thing. But that's where we're at. So thank you for your time and your support. It means a lot that you guys hang out with me on Saturdays. It's fun to share knowledge. I love sharing this information to help you guys all get deeper into these tools. Remember to please buy patches. Keeps me going. And there's a sale, so you can save 25% with the Summertime 25 promo code through this weekend. It's only good until June 25th at midnight. So if it's after June 25th, you've missed it. But I like to run sales all the time, so just check whenever, and there'll be a sale once. Especially through, I mean, they just happen. There's no rhyme or reason sometimes. But thank you. I appreciate. I'm going to go play with the Roland synth. And I've got a Peak on order from Novation. I'll share that with you when it shows up. And we'll keep hanging and doing this. This is a good time. So be well. Happy summertime. Happy up and coming forth and all that stuff. And we'll talk to you soon. All right. Oh, John, my first live stream with you. Well, I'm glad you joined, man. Welcome to all of you in the family. I'm glad you're in the family. Thank you. Your support means a lot to me. So hands together, head bowed. Peace to all. All right. See you guys later. Bye.